In case you didn't know, we live in a desert, as do most Californians. So water use and conservation are high on the list of priorities in Sacramento. But how far is too far when it comes to water restrictions? Well, Assembly Bill 1572 says potable water can no longer be used to irrigate non-functional turf. What is potable water? Well, it's the water we use to drink, shower, and currently water our lawns with. And what's functional turf? Well, this bill says it's any turf that's not located in areas designated by a property owner or a government agency for recreational use or public assembly. This bill requires all HOAs to switch to recycled water by 2029. And after 3 severe statewide droughts in just 15 years, state leaders have realized that irrigation of purely ornamental sections of turf in public spaces is unwise. Now let's welcome our guest, owner of Sherlock Holmes Watch, Tammy Bleak, and life coach Brad Ward. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Good, good. You
right.
totally massacred my name, but I love you anyway.
I appreciate it, and I like your hairstyle and your shirt you're wearing. Most of all, like your smile. All right, guys, let's get right down to it. The big question, do you guys agree with this law? Why or why not?
Well, I'm going to say that everybody should be concerned about conserving water. I mean, it should be a priority for all of us. And I agree with the premise. I mean, and I'm thinking, you know, turf, what the turf they're talking about are the lawns, the beautiful lawns that we see all over. And why are we wasting drinkable water on that? What do you think, Brad?
I agree with you, Tammy. I have zero problems with this law. Water is cheaper in California than it was for us when we lived in D.C., which boggles my mind. So, you know, anything we can do to conserve is great.
All right. I think some people think this bill means that the common grassy areas will go away, but in reality, HOAs will just switch to recycled water, which is historically cheaper. So why do you think there's so much resistance? Tammy, we'll start with you.
I think they don't understand the big picture. I think they need to be told that it's cheaper. And I also think that we should be getting away from lawns. I mean, this is not the world we live in anymore. I'm sorry, but we have beautiful drip systems and natural grasses and beautiful desert scape, which, you know, those of us that live in the desert, there's plenty of color and flowers. We don't need lawns. Why waste it?
Desert landscape. Brad?
I agree, and I also think that quite often the words are TLDR. Nobody wants to read that much text in a law, and so if we could make these things easier for people to digest, I think more people would be interested in understanding them.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Right. So right now, lawns and recreational areas are safe. Do you think we should start restricting water usage for those types of areas? Brad?
Yeah.
You know, my opinion is we should examine and determine whether these are necessary or whether they're a luxury. I suspect you'd get a significant division among people that you ask that question. But if they serve a common good and they can be maintained using recycled water, maybe it's okay. I just don't want everything to have a detrimental impact on our water resource.
All right, great answer. New topic. We've all been there, and many of us dread the day we go to our mailbox, we open it, and we see it, a jury summons. Your mind goes crazy. Can I get out of work? Does my work pay for those days? If I get into a jury, will my trial be juicy or will it be boring? It's our civic duty, but most of us would love a legitimate excuse to get out of jury duty. Police officers and sheriff's deputies don't serve, and that makes sense. But a new bill would give probation officers the same pass. For years, various professional groups and unions have tried to get the legislature to give their members a pass from mandatory jury duty. Probation officers hope the latest attempt ends differently than it did in 2018. That's when then Governor Jerry Brown vetoed a similar bill. All right, this bill has been advanced out of its first hearing. Do you think it should pass? Why or why not, Tammy?
No. I don't think it should pass. I mean, you know, judges are not immune to it. Prosecutors are not immune to it. Clerks are not immune to it. So why should the probation officers? I get, and I'm not unsympathetic or not understanding that these people are probably likely very overworked and they've got a lot on their plate and they really just don't need to be able to spend a whole day or two in jury duty. I get it, but you know, that's probably good for the most of us. But no, the answer is no. Brad?
I agree. I think one of the reasons that jury duty works is because it's a cross section of our peers who are on the jury. And if we lose knowledge and experience like that of a probation officer, it could have a detrimental impact for some cases.
All right, the one no vote on this bill questioned where the exemptions will end if this bill passes. Does that worry you, Brad?
A little bit. If we exempt too many people, who will be left to serve on a jury? And what knowledge and experience are we losing in exempting another group of people?
All right.
It's a slippery slope. It feels like a slippery slope. And I think we forget that it's the obligation of our citizenship. I mean, I know nobody wants to do it, but I've talked to an awful lot of people that have, and myself included, that have said it was a very good experience.
Appreciate it. So what were you dreaming about last night? For roughly 1 in every 4 people, that question draws a blank. For others, the answer comes easily, complete with vivid details about flying through clouds or showing up unprepared for an exam, or perhaps this newscast. The stark contrast in dream recall ability has baffled researchers for decades, but now a new study reveals there's more to remembering dreams than just pure chance. From March 2020 to March 2024, scientists from multiple Italian research institutions conducted a sweeping investigation to uncover what determines dream recall. So why do some people remember and other people don't? Well, it looks like a couple of things. A person's general attitude towards dreaming, their tendency to let their mind wander during the waking hours, and their typical sleep patterns. Okay, you two, tell the truth. Do you remember your dreams or not? Brad?
Sometimes, but not often. Then again, I sleep like the dead, so I may be too deep into sleep to really dream vividly based on what the study says.
Tammy?
We could bunk together. I'm a light sleeper, and I remember everything.
All right, you guys. We'll keep this next question PG, please. What's the strangest dream you can recall that you are willing to share?
Ooh, Brad, you go for that.
For a while, I had a series of dreams about being able to fly. I flew everywhere, and I was not dependent on any kind of machinery. It was very strange, especially since it happened over a number of years, and it was the same dream.
Tammy?
I had I've had many, to be honest, but the one that comes to mind at the moment is I had a dear friend who I helped out with something many years ago, and I dreamt that she came into my bedroom and sat on my bed and thanked me and gave me a hug. And I found out 3 weeks later that she had died that night.
Wowzers.
What?
Yeah.
No, wowza. What was
Wowza,
that?
That's intense. All right. Do you think people who can remember their dreams do so because they sleep better? Tammy?
I honestly, Kai, I'm clueless. I don't know. I think that maybe we just are more open-minded, the people that maybe, I don't know, maybe Brad knows.
Based on what the study says, people who typically sleep, who had longer periods of light sleep, dreamed with, and less deep sleep, were better at remembering their dreams. So maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's if we sleep very deeply, we don't remember.
All right. Well, thank you, Tammy and Brad. We will see you next time.